What do we have here? Another full album listen. That's what we have here. My cup and stuff. Oh, my hand's not back in time. There we go. Everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a beautiful one. Thank you so much for being here, clicking on the video. If it's your first time here, hope you're having a beautiful day. If it's your 1000th time here, hope you're having a beautiful one as well. Today we are diving into a full album listen, full album reaction of the 9th studio album by Mr. Roy Harper, released 1977, entitled, I should have practiced this before I started the video, Bullinamingvase. To be honest, I would like to Google this word to see if it is actually like a word besides just being the name of this particular album. We could do that together really quick. Gotta tell you, I'm seeing just a lot of the album. Okay, well, I guess it's on the Wikipedia article. Wordplay on Bullinamingvase. Or vase. That's a nice vase. Okay, so that's what it is. Anyways, hope you guys are having a great one as we dive into this album. We're listening to this album because it had been suggested by quite a few of you. We had listened to Stormcock and a couple other tracks by Mr. Harper, but this particular album had been suggested by, there's a lot of you, so just stand by for a second. Reese Tartartica, Mo Helvelito Haveli, James Paiva Paiva, Kate Howe, Lemming as well, Sci-Fi Monkey, William George Frazier, and, hold on, I have a second list, Alistair McDonald, Don Sutton, Fab Four, Don, thank you so much, Minor Cirrus, John, PBH, Cthulhu H Dreaming, MDR, Gerard Doherty, I think I got everybody, David Gibson, Mark Johnson, D. Darian. I think I got everyone, actually. I think I got everyone. Now, some of you had recommended the listen of the full album, and a lot of you had also just suggested listening to the track one of those days in England. So here's what happened. I was originally just going to listen to that track. That's what was suggested by some of you. But when I looked at the track listing here, I saw that part 1 is the first track on the album, and part 2 is 19 minutes long. It didn't make sense to listen to those two separately when, you know, it's kind of bookending the album. So I was like, you know what, let's just listen to them together in an album listen. It just kind of made sense. So that's how we've arrived at this point, and that's how we're arriving at our destination at the end of the album. That's the whole journey. So as always, thank you guys so much for being here. Hope you enjoy the album listen. Before we dive into it, press the like button. It helps and goes a long way in promoting the channel and helping others find the videos. Of course, if you'd like, you can support the channel and what I do on Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You do not have to, but it is an option. That's it. That's all I have to say. Thank you guys for checking out the channel and being here. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the first track here, which is One of Those Days in England, Part 1. Did I pull out the album? I do have it pulled up. We are ready to dive into it. And as always, my friends, this curated cup of coffee, courtesy of McDonald's, that's a lot of alliteration. That actually deserves...
Please clap.
That deserves that one. This sip of coffee is for you.
One of those days in England that you said could never end, as I was crashed out living every chance. One of those days in England we'd been saving up to spend, buying rides on Mother Nature's funny belly dance.
Kind of a Beatles-esque elongation. That's a wonderful, wonderful opening. Great structure.
One of those days in England with the country going broke, and Sunday's joint is cooking in my tree. One of those days in England, chopping baked beans in my coat. Please tell me when it matters, love. I might just want to get out of bed. to see. But until then, my darling, let's get down and make some fun. There's really nothing better we can do. One of those days in England, and our love has just begun. And half the fun in falling is you don't care where it's to.
Love that little synth.
My love, it seems so long away since when we both together lay, and yet it's only yesterday, dreaming of tomorrow. My love, there's no today. My love,
That's good.
gonna make my love to you. My love to you. My love to you. My love to you. Gonna make my love to you. My love.
What a statement of an opening track. Wow, just echoing out with the harmony there as well. That is a perfect opening track. It is a statement made. It is an entry point into this album. It opens the gates, and we are just welcomed in with a flurry of pastoral plots of England. You get a beautiful landscape before you. That's what I'm hearing when I'm listening to this. You have these beautiful folky melodies, but of course, given a lot of range and power. Harper's singing is incredible in here. There's a Beatles-esque quality to it as well in some of the melodies and the form and the way he's singing. Which, as I was looking at the personnel so I can mention names of who's singing, who else do I see but Paul McCartney? So I'm imagining that that's exactly who you're hearing there in the back on the latter half of the track. Just absolutely sensational. Really curious. We'll look into the history to see if I can find how Paul McCartney got involved with Roy Harper on this one. But I think that is just sensational. From the opening flourish with the guitar, the bass, as soon as the song begins, you know you're in for a beautiful time. I meant to go to the... Here we go. Right there. Just the bass drop, the swell of guitar, and it leads you all down into this beautiful road. You know, down in these days of England. I think that that's a really lovely way to start and to provide a setting for your album, because this feels like the start of an actual journey as we move forward. And eventually, of course, we're going to go ahead and bookend this particular song with parts 2 through 10, finishing with a 19-minute track. Just a really, really great track. I love when the drums came in on the back half of this one as well. Drums performed by John Halsey. I love how when it came in, it didn't come in with a standard beat. It had a little bit of life and a little bit of kick to it. Same thing with really all of the playing. It just wasn't so standard. There's some orchestration. There was some synth kind of playing on the side. Just a lot going on and a lot of good going on. But for now, let's dive into the lyrics on this particular track. One of those days in England that you said could never end. As I crashed out, living every chance. One of those days in England we've been saving up to spend. Buying rides on Mother Nature's funny belly dance. And I love the way I mentioned during the track, but in those last lines of each of the verses, how he elongates that outside of the typical standard of the music. I like that, not enunciation, that's not what I mean, but that kind of off-kilter direction, kind of coloring outside the lines a little bit. My love, it seems so long away since when we both together lay. And yet it's only yesterday, dream of tomorrow. My love, there's no today. My love, my love. One of those days in England with the country's going broke, and Sunday's joint is cooking in my tree. One of those days in England chomping baked beans in my coat. Tell me when it matters, love. I just want to get out of bed to see. So this is part a acknowledgement of a love song of his partner. but at the same time, just mentioning different things that, of course, a lot of the Englishisms will kind of go a little past me, but, chomping baked beans in my coat. And I imagine that this feels very familiar to those on the other side of the sea or ocean. What's the difference between a sea and an ocean? We'll look that up one day. The lentil in my garland, let's get down and make some fun. There's really nothing better we can do. One of those days in England and our love has just begun. Half the fun is fallen as you don't care where it's to. Half the fun is not knowing the exact destination, just going. It's the journey. My love, it seems so far. Oh, I'm sorry. My love, it seems so long away since we both together lay. And it's only yesterday, dream of tomorrow. My love, there's no today. My love, my love, my love. Before we go any further, let's look at some of the information on this. Now, I gotta say, I see what the vase is, but like Bullinamingvase, is this a thing? Like, why did he name the album Bullinamingvase? Album features a mix of musicians and instruments, including the Wald Symphony Orchestra. Nothing specifically that I'm seeing immediately. I'm just curious, like, why it's named this. I don't see anything immediately. All right, maybe we'll learn as we go. Let's go ahead and move on, and then from there into the next track, which is going to be These Last Days. A lot of days involved in this album. That's mellow. Get Gilmore on this track. And light your cigar.
These last days, I've never known in so many ways. Looking around me, I realize I found me a place.
That soft, lay me down on the pillow kind of song.
We might have to take the world the way we made it. It seems we have to find a fight. Though some of us ain't satisfied with less than any universe. I'm not sure that any side is right. Any side.
This is so spacey and psychedelic and warm.
Of mine, made up of folks disillusioned and frightened inside.
I love that. Almost vocoded harmony.
We steer the easy course around the Wars to end wars are like laws to end scars. They're insane.
That's a good line.
Sweet anarchy. Always so real and peaceful to be. Moment by moment we're facing the world honestly.
It's just so chill and mellow but thoughtful, you know? this part has such resonance though. It's all. I know it's early, and I'm not very typically into pitting albums against each other, but I want to say that, at least just off of these two songs, this very, very easily could be better than Stormcock for myself personally. I am immediately gelling with these two tracks. These Last Days, I can't help but, I guess, reference some places that Harper's been involved with before, but it does give me a little bit of that Pink Floyd Gilmore kind of vibe. Gilmore wouldn't sound out of place if he came in with a guitar solo here. It just has that wonderfully warm, inviting, psychedelic, spacey kind of feeling to it, where I feel like Roy is lost in deep, deep thought. And I don't know, this is just what I see, but like he's staring at the sky and just pondering and wondering and just kind of getting lost. And I think the musicianship is so beautiful. I love how the drums, soft and padded as they are, playing on the brushes and such, like it softens it, but there's still power to be had. When it gets into the chorus of the song, when he says, "We might have to take the world the way we made it," that's a strong statement. We might have to take the world, but the way that it's sung and delivered, there's a power to it amongst this mellow, mellifluous kind of tone that we've gotten through this track. Like it feels floaty, but the chorus kind of weighs it back down a little bit. But not to the point that it's grounded. It just adds a little bit more weight and a little bit more density. The guitar work is fantastic. There's little blips of synth, I guess, or keys that are just kind of sparkling in the back like satellite signals. It's just such a wonderfully satisfying track to listen to. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited to see where this album goes from here, just based off of the, I would say, strong strength of these last two songs. These last days I've never known in so many ways. Looking around me, I realize I've found me a blaze. In the peace, deep in the soul of someone who sees that no revolution, no new solutions could ease. So he's feeling like there's nothing could change, or even if things did change, they stay the same. And also, I kind of forgot to mention one more thing. The sound of his voice in this track, I found so heartwarming and personal. And I mean, like, outside of just like a general reaction, like, "Ooh, that sounded nice." Personally, that hit, and it felt so good. I love the way that he brings the harmonies, either with himself or someone else. Like, I love how that comes in. Almost a vocoded kind of texture to it. Just really well done. We might have to take the world the way we made it. It seems we have to find a fight. Though some of us ain't satisfied with less than any universe, I'm not sure that any side is right. And then he goes off of this statement and says, any side is just a passing figment of mind, made up of folks disillusioned and frightened inside. In the main, we steer the easy course around pain. Wars to end wars are like laws to end scars. They're insane. So I mean, such great lyrics here. Whichever side you choose, it's just a figment of the mind. Made up of folks who are disillusioned and frightened. You know, fear is the mind killer. And in the main, we steer the easy course, trying to travel around pain, things that bring discomfort and, you know, those kind of situations. Wars to end wars, that doesn't work because he says that's like passing laws to end scars. Just because you pass a law, perhaps changing something, doesn't undo the pain, the suffering, and those scars of perhaps generations before. Sweet anarchy, always so real and peaceful to be, moment by moment for facing the world honestly. We might have to take the world back the way we made it. And he goes on from there. But this time he says, It seems there ain't no turning back. Though some of us ain't satisfied with less than any universe, well, hell, I'll have to go along with that, because I've got mine. I've got mine these last days. So he's got his. He just has to go along with the flow of the rest. I think that this is a really thought-provoking and beautifully performed and written song. This is turning out to be really good. I know we're only 2 tracks in, but technically we're a third of the way in. So let's go ahead and get halfway through and listen to the next track, which is Cherishing the Lonesome.
Here comes the patter of rain on my window. I've woken again to the world on my pillow, wondering how I can beg, steal on, borrow a girl who won't fight me but quietly follow. Straight as a die and as clear as a crystal, I come from a temple as trod as a footstool to hide in a brothel inside a cathedral. The man in the mirror, the fool in the ideal. Pulling apart with a speechless unweaving, dignity reels in the hearts of the grieving. Walking the touchline twixt truth and deceiving, a tear in a smile and a wild wrenching leaving.
I like how the bass came in. Well. That's the life coming in. It has everything.
I'd like to dance and sing my song upon a summer mountain, with just a quiet girl along for daisy petal counting, to set our sails into the west, the dream of our forebears, to where the sun is at his best, gathering us lovers. Oh,
that had power behind the way it builds up to that. That's how it really came right back down to
Stand
this.
in the doorway with tears in your sorrow, saying there must be some way to tomorrow. And just for a few hours I think I can borrow a girl who won't fight me but quietly follow.
So at this point, we're now technically halfway, in a sense, through the album. And I feel like these 3 tracks have really told a journey, not necessarily literally and thematically, but more so musically. Because the first track starts off with just like I said, a bold statement as an entry point to get us out the gate. The second track kind of mellowed things out a little bit, kind of put us into this spacey kind of feeling. And then this one, the beginning, kind of carried on a similar aspect, very, to me, desolate and acoustic. But as the music built up, it built up into a high mountain of a lot of different things, and then it brought it back down. So I feel like just these 3 tracks have created such a journey that's been really, really satisfying. I like how you can really get a sense of the intimacy of the picking from the guitar here from Roy, but you also have someone else playing guitar as well. Andy Roberts is also included on playing guitar, which actually looking at it, there's a lot of other guitarists here. Jimmy McCulloch included, BJ Cole. Now, I don't know exactly which tracks they're attributed to, but you do have other musicians in here. Once again, the mixture and the menagerie of guitars is just lovely, and especially that main melody that it opens with and closes with on this track, I can't even mouth it, but dun, dun, dun. I guess I could just play it, huh? Probably be the best way to do it is just this. To me, that part, there's a little bit more of like a boldness to it. However, after all of the release through this song, and by the time it gets to the ending, playing the same thing, see how it's different? It feels more resolved. It feels more complete as this journey in this song has taken place. And I think that works so well. I love when the music comes in, the drums and the bass and all the different hits that happen in there. It just feels like a complete journey. And it feels like a satisfying conclusion. Now, originally, you still have 2 more songs on this particular side of the album before you flip it over. But I will say, just, at this particular halfway point of the track listing, it feels like a complete journey. I feel like in a way these 3 songs could have just been all brought together. Now, with Cherishing the Lonesome, don't ask me why, but Genius, where I've been using lyrics for, did not have this song on there. So I had to quickly search and find lyrics at another place. So here we are. Here comes the patter of rain on my window. I've woken against the world on my pillow, wondering how I can beg, steal, or borrow a girl who won't fight me but quietly follow. Straight as a die and as clear as a crystal, I come from a temple as trod as a footstool. To hiding a brothel inside a cathedral, the man in the mirror, the fool in the ideal. So I like how, once again, he's giving us a setting. He's giving us a place. He's waking up, wondering how I can beg, steal, borrow a girl who won't fight me but quietly follow. Looking for someone that's not going to oppose him. And I like how, I feel like he's looking inside of himself and realizing that maybe he's deceiving himself in a way. Because he says, straight as a die, I'm clear as a crystal, I come from a temple as trod as a footstool. To hiding a brothel inside a cathedral. I feel like he's describing, in a sense, himself. Because the next line he says, the man in the mirror, the fool in the ideal. So on the exterior, it's the ideal, it's the cathedral. On the inside, he calls himself a fool and a brothel inside of a cathedral. So I just like, if I'm reading that correctly, that kind of self-reflection, and in a way, an honest self-reflection. Pulling apart with the speechless unweaving, dignity reels in the hearts of the grieving. Walking the touchline twixt truth and deceiving, a tear in a smile and a while wrenching leaving. So, of course, you're getting a lot of opposing thoughts and contrast here. Now, this line here is when the music begins to pick up, and I really like the lines that are sung at this point. Help me now, my long-lost love, the dusk has drawn my soul. Relishing the autumn, maybe it's the tragedy in loving that I live, cherishing the lonesome. So at that moment when the music picks up, that's when he's saying, like, help me now. I need something to get me out of this particular, state, I guess. I'd like to dance and sing my song upon a summer mountain. Of course, this is when the music is much more upbeat. So these are his hopes, just, accentuated and symbolized in the music. With just a quiet girl along for daisy petal counting. To set our sails into the west, the dream of all our forebears, to where the sun is at his best, gathering us lovers. And once again he asks the same thing, help me now, my long-lost love, the dusk has drawn my soul. Relishing the autumn, maybe it's the tragedy in loving that I live. Cherishing the lonesome. So cherishing the lonesome, cherishing the solitude, but at the same time, he would like something more. And the line relishing the autumn just before winter, which is death. So, relishing the moment before the end, relishing the now. Then he says at the end, you stand in the doorway with tears in your sorrow, which, by the way, this is when the music comes back down. So now it's like reality coming back. You stand in the doorway with tears in your sorrow, saying there must be some way tomorrow or to tomorrow. And just for a few hours, I think I can borrow a girl who won't fight me but quietly follow. So there's some sort of resolution at the end, but still a little bit of an open interpretation there. But maybe there are a few more hours that he can borrow, and maybe this can last maybe a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. Let's move on into the next track here, which is Naked Flame. Here we go.
The naked flames of cracking dawn come searing through with cruel scorn to furrow wounds across each frown inside the rest of love's sad clown who chases fleeting silhouettes with swollen dreams and rising
This is
sweats.
that troubadour kind of feel.
Taunts and bluffs the savage god with a broken heart.
Nice guitar fill.
And a hanging head.
Dramatic elongations and pauses are really nice.
I would we were, but I wish in vain to have you here to hold again. My blood boils ice in deep despair, but worst of all, you couldn't care. Remember when the world was ours, and at our feet 10,000 stars. Who saw us then could now relate. Who would have guessed this was our fate?
He makes you wait, and then the rest of the band comes on in. He makes you wait for it.
I'm sorry that you thought of us as painful and superfluous. But please don't think I'm the thick-skinned who want my seed in any old wind. I can't believe
John harpsichord.
to get to this. When lawyers luck,
There, we'll bend.
where lovers kiss.
Is that what's that country?
The altar
Guitar.
of October
Lap steel.
stands with opening arms and dripping hands, unveiling stones, collecting skies, and gathering leaves to whisper sighs as from the pulpit summer shrinks, and hope of us together sinks as fast as all those burning
change.
lights. Just as hard to memorize.
The groove is hard to memorize.
The ages pass with the flick of a thumb. Love is lost and pride has won. But through all destruction flies new dawn. And I rode the winds into the morn.
Like the hi-hat play. This feels to me like some sort of mix between folk, a little country in there. Maybe it's because of I can't remember if it's the lap steel guitar or what's that other thing that's always used in country music. That thing that bends it. Wow. I'm looking at the personnel list to see if I can find it. Pedal steel guitar. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, this I'm assuming performed by B.J. Cole. Like that gives me a little bit of the country S vibe. The folk is obvious, and then I don't know if I'm going too far with this, but progressive as well, because of the constant changes in the music. And even though it rotates, it's not like it's, changing. It sticks to a pattern. It's just the end of that pattern is so hard for me to catch with the different hits and the way it changes around itself. But Roy accomplishes it with such ease. And this track especially feels to me like he's in his troubadour phase. Like this is the medieval folk troupe that's going around and telling stories, and they're in the town center, the town square, and entertaining the city folk. This is what this is giving me here. I love how when it comes in, not every single time, but when the music comes back around, there's almost this revitalized energy to it, guitar on top of guitar. I love the little guitar fill that happens in the silence, in that dramatic pause that he often does throughout this whole thing. And in this space here, the guitar, ding 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 ding, then da 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 ba da ba. Like I like those little pauses that happen each time, as if to enunciate what was said before. Which let's go ahead and find out what was said before. The naked flames are of cracking dawn come searing through with cruel scorn, to furrow wounds across each frown inside the breast of love's sad clown, who chases fleeting silhouettes with swollen dreams and rising sweats, who taunts and bluffs the savage god with a broken heart and a hanging head. So what is the naked flames? Is this like a flames reveal all? Like, okay, maybe I'm going too dark with this. Maybe it's going too dark. But someone who's being burned in medieval times may tell the truth. Like they may reveal, when flame touches naked flesh, there's not much to hide. Also, the imagery of who chases fleeting silhouettes with swollen dreams and rising sweats. Like when there's candlelight, of course, if there's people, it casts the shadows up on the walls. So fleeting silhouettes, what are they fleeting from? Why are they sweating? What's the dream? I don't know exactly what he's saying or talking about, but the imagery and the poetry that's being spoken here is nice. I would, we were, but I wish in vain to have you here to hold again. My blood boils, ice in deep despair, but worst of all, you couldn't care. Remember when the world was ours, and at our feet 10,000 stars. Who saw us then could now relate. Who would have guessed this was our fate? Okay, so he brings it down to a personal relationship level. I'm sorry that you thought of us as painful and superfluous, but please don't think I'm that thick-skinned to want my seat in any old wind. I can't believe we'll just exist as figments in each other's past. Where is it at to get to this when lawyers lurk where lovers kissed? Okay, this brings a lot more context into it. Definitely a breakup song, a relationship gone sour, and he says, I'm sorry you thought of it as painful and superfluous, but, this actually meant something to me. This wasn't just like a little fling of any sort. And he says, I love the lines here, I can't believe we'll just exist as figments of each other's past. There's no more present with us. We're just a part of each other's past, soon to be forgotten. And the line as, how did it get to this where we used to kiss is now where lawyers lurk. They're waiting to serve them papers. I don't have any papers, but they're going to serve you. Well, that's a really good line, and that reveals a lot about the previous stanzas. The altar of October stands with opening arms and dripping hands, unveiling storms, collecting skies, and gathering leaves to whisper sighs. As from the pulpit summer shrinks and hope of us together sinks, as fast as all those burning lies and just as hard to memorize. Even the lies between us are getting hard to memorize. The ages pass with the flick of a thumb, love has lost and pride has won. But through old destruction flies, new dawn and I roar the winds into the morn. So even though this particular season is over, he is moving with hope into the next one. I think that, okay, now really reading the lyrics and kind of understanding, the painfulness of the relationship ending, actually kind of brings a little bit of an interesting contrast to the music, which is incredibly upbeat and jaunty, besides those dramatic moments at the end of each of the stanzas when there's a pause. That pause now makes sense with what's being said and what's being spoken of. We're diving in. Let's go ahead and move on to the next track, which is also ending this particular side of the album. That is going to be Watford Gap. Watford Gap.
Harry, you're so gross.
Oh, here we go then. When? One, two, three, four.
That comes in.
Just about a mile from where the motorways all merge, you can view the national edifice, a monumental splurge. It's the lonesome traveler's rock of our bacteria's revenge, the great plastic spectacular descendant of Stonehenge. And the people come to worship on their death-defying wheels, fancy dust shovels for their death-defying meals. Watford Gap, a plate of grease and a load of crap.
Just want to stomp.
Watford Gap, a plate of grease and a load of crap.
Where is this
Am
place?
on Sunday, you can hear the boys declare that the other team were fairies and the ref was Fred Astaire. It's Harper on his fan club on their weekly pilgrimage to stick the hero's boot in all the way from Stamford Bridge. And without a solid concrete burger, no night is complete. Plastic
Hard
cups
burger.
and used bathwater wash away defeat. Watford Gap,
Nice double entendre.
plate of grease and a load of crap. Watford Gap, plate of grease and a load of crap.
It's catchy.
The traffic jam is rattling like a 5-mile cornet snake, with human pieces falling off and steaming in its wake. The city's like a ghoulie in a groupie stagnant whoop, junctions, targets in the vinegar strokes of doom. The countryside is ravaged like a syphilitic whore. Yodeling up the canyon is the dirty old blue bore. Watford Gap, play the grease and a load of crap.
You gotta clap.
Watford Gap, play the grease and a load of crap. Watford Gap, play the grease and a load of crap. Watford Gap, play the grease and a
A little
load of
speed up,
crap.
huh? I really went up there at the end. What is that sound? I always forget. Well, whatever the Watford Gap is, it doesn't sound like a good place. I don't know where it is, what it is. A restaurant of some sort, perhaps. I don't know. You got concrete hamburgers. I don't know why I said like hamburgers. This is taking the fun jauntiness. This is going from the jaunts of the previous track into a stomp. Because this is one of those folk songs you got everyone out in the basement and they're stomping and clapping and I don't know. Remember that scene in hold on, it's it's easy, even better, really. If you try to pull it up. But like this is one of those tracks that you have an audience of people like dancing and talking and such. So this is that old party kind of vibe. Like, I'm going to just pull up briefly, like, what it makes me think of. It makes me think of this. This is the imagery it makes me think of. I have it muted because, like this, right? Watford Gap, the Watford Gap. Oh, that is fun. It even sounds like some of the other musicians in there are speaking at the same time. They're just all like, "Yeah, don't want to go to the Watford Gap. Have you heard of that place? Would not 5-star on Google. Not at all." That's a fun one. I did see that Watford Gap had a little part of a Wikipedia article when we looked at it earlier. So let's just read that really quick while we're here. Originally, the album contained the song Watford Gap, which contains somewhat disparaging lyrics concerning the Watford Gap service station. Okay, like for the trains, right? Is that what it is? Motorway services. But what is it? Motorway services, Watford Gap. So is it the company? The facilities were originally managed by Blue Boar. Okay, so there's your reference. We caught that really quick. That had run the local nearby petrol station before the M1 opened. I just want to see. So it's just this station. Okay, which I guess now has a McDonald's. Britain's oldest motorway service? Is that... I guess it's been rebuilt recently as well. Okay, let's go back to this. Let's go back to where we originally were. A motorway service area situated between junctions 16 and 17 of the M1 motorway near Watford Gap in Northamptonshire, England. Let's see, just about a mile where the motorways all merge, you can view the national edifice, a monumental splurge as the lonesome travels rot gut. Oh, those are the lyrics. Harper claimed the food was junk, absolute junk. I tried to get the media food commentators of the day interested, but none of them would help me because they were all kind of bought off in some way. They were in the pockets of the corporations. I got a reply from Bernard Levin. He agreed with me, but wouldn't go public about it. So that just because of the food? Out of all the things you could, be critical of and everything, it's just the food. And, Big Food was like, no, shut it down. Subsequent pressings omitted the song at the behest of an EMI board member who was also a non-executive director of Blue Boar, the owners of the service station. Under duress, Harper replaced the controversial track with Breakfast with You, a song he himself allegedly described as pap. In 96, Watford Gap was finally restored to the reissued CD. I think that is so funny. If there was some sort of I guess real disparaging criticism of I don't know, something else at the Watford Gap. Like, I could kind of see, like, and I mean barely see, a little bit of that. But he was just talking about the food being bad, and they were like, shut him down? Come on. Come on. Like, come on. Come on. What's the problem with that? Anyways, we are moving on into the final track of the album. We are flipping it all over. We are moving on. Actually, really quick, just because I happen to see this as I'm closing the windows, I just thought this was kind of interesting. The services became a meeting place for rock bands in the 60s, including the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, and Jimi Hendrix, as it provided a convenient place to sit down and eat a meal in the early hours of the morning. Hendrix has said, was said, to have mistaken the rest stop for a nightclub, having heard about the hotspot from other musicians. He shows up and it's just a service station, and he's there to party. In the 1970s, the quality of the service has declined, and the food came in harsh criticism of, as we just heard. Since the purchase in 95, it says that it has been refurbished. I think that is so interesting. That is so cool. Hey, meet me at Watford Gap. I just think that's cool. Anyways, what was I doing? We are moving on to the next side of the album, the final track of the album, which of course is going to be One of Those Days in England's parts 2 through 10. However, before we do so, since you guys are still watching, I'm assuming you guys are still watching, let's go ahead and learn something together. What is the difference between an ocean and sea? Do you guys know? Before I bring it up on screen, do you guys know what the difference is? I've never really thought about it. In terms of geography, seas are smaller than oceans and are usually located where the land and ocean meet. Typically, seas are partially enclosed by land. I don't know why I've never thought about this. Have you ever thought about this? Sea, a large body of water that connects to the ocean, but is bound or contained by a landmass. That's just a lake. Ocean, a large contiguous body of water covering 3/4. I know that. Okay, they're different by size. Okay, so it's a size. Seas are, okay, bound by land. Okay. The 7 seas. Yeah, here, the 7 seas. Been referenced in Hindu, Chinese, Persian, Roman, and other texts. Typically, the 7 seas refers to bodies of water that pave the way for trade routes or simply represented exotic or foreign entities. We're learning today. Let's look at UNESCO. I'm just, aren't you curious? We only have one more track to listen to. Might as well, learn a little bit. They're used kind of interchangeably. Because, I mean, yeah, I would kind of use it in somewhat interchangeably. But, seas are often enclosed by land. So, okay, if we Google Philippine Sea, is it enclosed by land? I don't get it. It's still just ocean. That's what I'm confused about. This is just a part of the ocean. See? It's right there. See? Where's the part of all this that's enclosed by land? Wouldn't that just be a lake? All right, anyways. We don't need to stick here. We don't need to go down this path. A little self-learning goes a long way. But together, we will move on to the next track, the final track of the album, One of Those Days in England, parts 2 through 10. Here we go.
Every Wednesday morning at about the hour 10, I give the Queen my autograph. She gives me the end. The man behind the counter smiles. The doorman bows again. Just another day down on the dole queue.
Just a normal day, every day.
But the government must love me 'cause they keep me out of work. They must be saving me for something special. Maybe it's the job of rolling spliffs for Captain Kirk, or giving me this lovely, say, pubic hairdo.
Don't know what that means. But that piano. We're going.
One of those days in England with a sword in every pond and birds in every garden in the land. One of those days in England when the passion never ends, a slowly moving season by the fire of my friends.
Piano and bass are just good.
And though the time fast slips away, it's long enough to laugh and play around the fireside making hay.
See, that Beatles-esque quality comes through.
You know, there's no today. One of those days in England with a willow hanging on. I dreamt I met an old man down the road, whispering the mysteries of patterns up ahead, and stirring past reflections with the sort of light and said.
That was part 3. We're moving to part 4. They're all
had me made
very distinguished from each other.
from Albion's Everglade, and I made him to lie with me whence all my troubles fade.
The harp.
You may have read the signs, beware of strange designs, for though the victors write the books, the loser speaks the lines.
That's a great line.
So let's now both be gone, 'tis far to Avalon, and though we go our different ways, I'll see you there anon.
See? Part 5 now. Like, they're clearly distinguished. And they're very quick. For a 19-minute track.
So I'll get on board the bird of Lyons down a road, but every time I met a prince, a fork came down the road. I kept on thinking that I'll stop once everybody should,
Kind of
gathered in the midst of all reflection.
a Neil Young kind of sound here.
But I believe that possible this far into control, this far beyond the non-imagination. Now more than I can shake the moving forces of my soul. The Time Lord took the slowly revolution.
Part 6. For as quick as it moves through different parts, it keeps that connection going very well.
You and me, mother, we're gonna raise
Oh, this is Pink Floyd now.
Why does it matter where they've all gone? We don't even have the power.
I like the guitar.
To choose them.
I was trying to hear what that sound underneath it was. Right there. It's just guitar, huh?
Shooting through space with suns on our hips and guns.
This verse sounds like a Pink Floyd song. I just can't remember which one. Love the guitar spying in the back, watching this unfold. Spacey and angry. Where is that from?
And when we've killed all who resisted the call, we'll discover a brand new world.
It's off of Animals.
At the border, you and me, brother, wrapped up in silence, rooted for better breathing. Seeing ideas we were one time a part of, ripples apart in all places.
I think that this is the most interesting part so far. Because how cosmic and psychedelic it feels.
Oh, heavens above, I'm coming with us.
Some of this Led Zeppelin-y.
All over you.
Now we're back in part 7. Lighten up with the harp on the sides, huh?
Sitting out there with your silvery hair and your thundery look when you really don't care, but I love you. Dolly blue rivers, foreverness givers, I'll know without going and go without knowing above you. Stood on the ship in a dream with third slip, with Britannica's talons on Albion's grip. Do you need me?
This is like the pleasant psychedelic.
Looking for you and it's catch-22, and you've never been here, but it's always been blue up above me.
Now part 8.
Up above me, oh, Mrs. Space,
Grounded.
to come out to the human race, and together they hopped over the edge. 9 months later, they were sharing a brand new face.
This is that rock and roll outburst. Echo on it. In case you can't tell every time it changes. That felt like the climax. But we have 2 more parts to go.
Slowly slipping into history, feelers go. With these times another age could never know. See the photos black and white, quaintly dressed, stood in queues of people smiling, sorely pressed. Your silent room is the collection of your ways. Every shelf is built of all those different days. And those much younger cannot understand by half the wireless living room, the faces round the hearth, the ration books of Matthews at their
I love the keys underneath this.
The corner shop that sold us almost everything. The farthing in the change, the sirens and the planes, puffing and Billy's shunting heroes down the lane, down there.
Now part 10. Lullaby-esque, this melody now.
You know we'll soon be gone from here, year upon light year. We'll take the stories with us there, the memories are dear.
Unexpected.
One of those days in England, Mum was rustling up the grub, and Dad was off out propping up the pub. One of those days in England that you just could not forget, from the mists of secret morning to the golden red
Like this reprise right here.
sunset.
Bringing it all together. That's conclusive. Well, just like that, can't even say the name of the album. Bullinamingvase finished album with the final track, the epic soaring 19 minutes. This obviously is an epic in the duration. There's no doubt about that. But in the actual journey that it takes, it is absolutely an epic. It takes you through so many different facets and variations. And obviously, I was calling them out as it was going. You know, part 2, part 3, part 4, and going on. But even without me saying them, you would probably be able to very easily catch the changes between parts because each one felt very distinct from one another. My favorite, if I had to choose two, my favorite parts were parts 6 and 9. 6 is where I kept saying that it really reminded me of Pink Floyd, especially the way that he was singing the verse. It sounds like another Pink Floyd song. I'm pretty sure off of Animals, which is the best Pink Floyd album, by the way. And I can't quite remember which one it is off the top of my head, but I can hear it. I think it might be Sheep. I'm playing it in my head. It doesn't matter. Anyways, or it might be Sheep or Dogs. It's one of the two. Either way. Just love that space that's created there. And then part 9, I would say as well, which kind of once again gave us something intimate, something subtle and lullaby-esque. Part 10 was a wonderful conclusion and satisfying end to the album and to this particular suite as well, with the nice reprise of course, part 1, bringing it all together. And then, I think it was part 8 or 7. I don't remember now. There's so many parts. Part 8 really brought the rock and roll aspect there. That's where Roy is really like yelling passionately and singing out so much. And it's just a really nice journey that this takes. Now, like a lot of other epic tracks that I hear for the first time here on the channel, to be honest, I'm going to listen to it again because it's a lot to take in. And I don't remember as much off a first listen, the first half, as I do from part 6 forward. Because part 6 is where it really grabbed me. And I was really into it from there. I need to listen to it again to really get a grasp of the rest of it. But I do think that it's a really cool accomplishment, what he was able to do with so many different varieties and all the different musicians that were in here. I love the, of course, inclusion of the harp being played at multiple points, the synth and the keys. It's just a really wonderful journey, but one that I will have to take a second time to really grasp. I'm not going to read every single lyric in this thing, but we'll look at some of them. I'm just telling you right now. Every Wednesday morning at about the hour of 10, I give the queen my autograph, she gives me the yen. The man behind the counter smiles, the doorman bows again. Just another day down the dole queue. So, really, that's it. Just another one of those days. But the government must love me because they keep me out of work. They must be saving me for something special. Maybe it's the job of rolling spliffs for Captain Kirk, going to space, or Miss Lovelace, a pubic hairdo. Don't know what that means. We're just going to move on. One of those... Actually, you know what? Instead of me reading all the lyrics and not knowing what the heck I'm talking about, let's go ahead and do this, huh? Maybe we'll get a better idea. It says comprising several musical movements. The song is a collection of reminiscences? Reminiscings? Is that a word? I know reminiscing. And scenes, is that a made-up word? All words are made up.
Reminiscence.
I know that word, but I just never heard it in this way. A collection of reminiscences, I guess. Okay. From both, I thought it was because like it was combining the words of reminisce and scenes. So you're getting these scenes from a memory traveling down your dream theater. Please clap. I don't think I've ever heard the word in this capacity. Anyways, never too late to learn. From both a personal and cultural perspective, Harper sings of Britannica and all those who sail in her, especially those with Albion's cultural heritage clause, and refers to the Alfred Jewel, the Legend of the Sword in the Lake, Avalon, signing on for the Dole, Captain Kirk, Linda Lovelace, Stanley Matthews, and the Blitz. Gotta tell you, most of that is flying over my head. One of those days in England with a sword in every pond. Okay, that's the sword in the stone, lady in the lake. Gotcha. And birds in every garden in the land. One of those days in England when the passion never ends. A slowly moving season by the fire of my friends. And though the time fast slips away, it's long enough to laugh and play. Around the fireside making hay, dream of tomorrow, you know there's no today. One of those days in England with the willow hanging on, I dreamt I met an old man down the road, whispering the mysteries of patterns up ahead, and stirring past reflections with the sword of lightning, said. This is where I begin to lose it, to be honest. Alfred had made me from Albion's Everglade, and I made him to lie with me whence all my troubles fade. I don't know who these people are. You may have read the signs, beware of strange designs, for though the victors write the books, the loser speaks the lines. That I thought was a good line. I don't know what any of this part meant, but I thought that was a good line. And so I got on board the bird of aeons, and I rode, but every time I met a prince, a fork, dink, I came down the road. I kept on thinking I'd stop once everybody showed, gathered in the myths of our own reflection. But stopping ain't that possible, this far into control, this far beyond the non-imagination, no more than I can shed the moving forces of my soul, the time lords of the slowly. So, time moves forward, you can't stop anything at this point, you're moving on, and I like how he says, the revolution, you and me, mother, we're gonna raise a ship full of kids and slowly lose them. Why does it matter where they've all gone? We don't even have the power to choose them. It's an interesting line. A little true. You and me, Father, we're going to colonize all of the stars with lots of our madness. Shooting through space with suns on our hips and guns on our lips to play snakes and ladders. Is this like a British history, like a British colonization kind of thing coming in? Ignore my knee. I just feel like being in my chair like this. Oh, heavens above, I'm coming with love all over you. You and me, sister, we're going to plant a bomb in the street to change law and order. And when we've killed all who resisted the call, we'll discover a brand new wall at the border. So no matter what you try to change, no matter what you revolutionize and do this, you're always going to have something else. You and me, brother, wrapped up in silence, brooding for better breathing spaces, seeing ideals, we were one time apart of rip us apart in our holiest places. Sitting out there with his silvery hair and your thundery look when you really don't care, but I love you. Dolly Blue Rivers for foreverness givers, I'll go without knowing and know without going above you. Okay, let me just. All right, this whole thing feels like like they said in the Wikipedia article, a journey through the cultural histories and things of England, Britannica, but also of course many personal things as well. Mrs. Space, but then the ending. We'll at least read that. I'm skipping. We'll soon be gone from here, year upon light year. We'll take light year's distance though. Anyways, we'll take the stories from with us there. The memories are dear. One of those days in England, Mum was rustling up the grub and Dad was off out propping up the pub. I love how you can imagine Dad leaning against the pub, propping it up. I like how it's gone from this journey, this history and the cultures, to something once again much more personal and intimate, with Mom and Dad. One of those days in England that you could just not forget, from the mist of secret morning to the golden red sunset, and though the time fast slips away, it's long enough to laugh and play. Around the fireside, making hay, dreaming of tomorrow, oh, there's no today. So yeah, there may not be a lot of time left in the future, whatever that future may hold, but there is just enough for today. There is just enough for the now. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you all so much who had recommended and suggested this album. And of course, those of you who had suggested this song. And I'm sure there were many others that suggested other songs, but this is how we arrived here to this album. So I definitely enjoyed it. I still think that those first 3 tracks are just magical. This one I'll have to give another listen to. But that's where my head kind of leads with this one. These Last Days is, I think, right up here. But let me know what you guys thought of the track or the albums, and what do you think is your favorite track on the album? Do you think that your favorite track is the second side, or is it one of the first? Let me know down there. Press the like button. Support what I do on Patreon if you want for as little as $2 a month. You don't have to. Hope you just enjoyed chilling out here, enjoying the music, relaxing, whether you had a cup in hand. There's nothing else I can really grab. Hopefully you weren't on your phone the whole time. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all later. Bye.